Okay, we'll start inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Honorable Deputy Directors of Centris, Associate Professor Dr. Nazrah Ahmad and Dr. Muhammad Rashid bin Abdul Razak. Honorable panel members, Professor Dr. Muhammad Fauzan Nurdin from KICT IIUM, Professor Dr. Mira Kartiwi, also from KICT, also the Director for Center for Professional Development IIUM, Professor Dr. Akram Zaki Khader from KICT as well, and former Deputy Director of Centris IIUM. Professors, doctors, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to Centris Virtual Forum 2022, Series number 6, Sustainable Development for Rahmatan lil Alameen, a Tawhidic Narrative, Spirituality and SD, ICT and IR 4.0, 5.0. I am Dr. Nurjana Hassan, your host for today. In remembrance of Allah Yarham Sheikh Dr. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, who departed to the eternal abode on the 26th of September 2022 or 29th Safar 1444, let us all begin the forum with a quiet recitation of the Kitab for him, for our teachers, our elders and colleagues who have gone before us. Al-Fatiha. The passing of Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi is indeed a great loss to the Muslim Ummah and humanity at large. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus among those closest to him. Ameen. Today, sustainable development has become a very important topic and discourse globally, thanks to the unprecedented worldwide destructions and crises befalling humanity and the environment. Conventional discourses on and efforts towards sustainable development are almost silent about spirituality. Spirituality in our context refers to matters pertaining to the existence of man in relation to the Creator, the man-God-cosmos relationships, the fundamental core of humanity that has long been sidelined, to the detriment of mankind and consequently to his environment and civilization. Spiritually then must be the core of a theistic sustainability, more so that one that is Tawhidic. Centris feels the obligation to arrange a series of forums to address the issues above by inviting several key figures as panel members. This forum is a continuation of the series on sustainability and spirituality that we had conducted in the past, beginning with Sustainable Development, a Tawhidic Narrative held in 2021, which paid attention to the principles and overview, the framework, the Sharia and sustainability and Islamic education as key to sustainability in Islam. Today's forum, as the title suggests, will be approached from three essential areas, namely spirituality and sustainability, the role of information and communication technology, spirituality and sustainability, a view on the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and 5.0, and maneuvering ICT and IR 4.0, 5.0 with the concerns of Maqasid al-Sharia. I now call upon the brother Faisal Kamal Muhammad of Centris to recite a short dua to open the Centris Virtual Forum Series number 6. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, Dr. Jana. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa 'azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad salatan tunjina biha min jami'il ahwal wal afat wa taqdi lana biha jami'al hajat wa tutahhiruna biha min jami'is sayyi'at wa tarfa'una biha 'indaka 'ala ad-darajat وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ادفع عنا البلاء والوباء والغلاء، لا كاشف ولا دافع له غيرك. اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها، واجعل حياتنا حياة طيبة آمنة مطمئنة. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Ameen. Taqabbalallah minkum. Allahumma ameen. Thank you very much, Brother Faisal. I now welcome Associate Professor Dr. Nazra Ahmad, the Deputy Director of Centris on Islamization, to say a few welcoming words. Prof. Nazra. Dr. Nazra. Maybe she is muted.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurjana. Our MC for today's virtual forum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Welcome to all panelists and all participants, whether you are joining through the Zoom platform or the YouTube Live. Welcome and thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana lihadza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadana Allah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa alihi wa man wala. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh again. First of all, I would like to welcome our newly appointed director in this virtual forum. Welcome, Datuk Hamidun Abdul Hamid. Previously, Datuk, you joined us as one of our panelists, but today, Alhamdulillah, with the blessings of Allah, you are joining us as the director of Centris. Yeah? And Alhamdulillah, with the grace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are able to continue this effort of having this series of virtual forums, and today it is virtual forum series number 6, entitled Sustainable Development for RAHMATAN lil ʿALAMīn, a Tawhidic Narrative, Spirituality and Sustainable Development, ICT and IR 4.0, 5.0. So today's virtual forum will try to reach some objectives, okay, among others, to disseminate clear understanding of sustainability and sustainable development from Tawhidic perspective, to promote discourses covering fundamental aspects of sustainability from the worldview of Tawhid, to build up awareness on sustainable development concerning ICT in the wake of Industrial Revolution 4.0 and 5.0, and the place of Maqasid al-Sharia in regulating the endeavors, and also to construct a systematic theocentric narrative of sustainable development from the worldview of Tawhid as a necessary and viable alternative to that of the conventional. So with 3 panelists today, inshallah, we hope to achieve such objectives. And to all our panelists, we are looking forward to be learning from you, right? Taking more lessons from you and input for the agenda, okay, that we are currently going hand in hand with IIUM. Now, Prof. Fauzan, inshallah, will be talking about spirituality and sustainable development, the role of ICT. We have also with us Prof. Dr. Mira Kartiwi, spirituality. She will be talking on spirituality and sustainable development, Industrial Revolution 4.0 and 5.0. And last but not least, Prof. Akram, who is he's a familiar name and face with Centris, at Centris most especially, will be covering the topic of maneuvering ICT and IR 4.0, 5.0 with the concerns of Maqasid Sharia. I welcome all panelists to the virtual forum today. So, okay, lastly, I would like to thank you, all those who are involved in making this session or this virtual forum a success. Those people who are in the background or currently who are here, especially Dr. Nurjana herself, Brother Faisal Kamal, Sister Nurlela Muhammad, and all our brothers and sisters who are currently attached with Centris as interns. Thank you all. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you for all your effort and time. And I end my welcoming remark with Subhana Rabbika Rabbil Izzati Amma Yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Nurjana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nazra. Thank you very much. A small correction, yeah. There has been a switch by the sort of suka sama suka between Prof. Akram and Prof. Mira. So Prof. As well as Prof. Fauzan, a little bit of switching. So inshallah, a little bit of correction here. Prof. Fauzan would be speaking on spirituality and SD, and Prof. Akram then would follow with maneuvering ICT with the consent of Maqasid Sharia, and Prof. Mira, spirituality and SD. Thank you very much, Prof. Associate Professor Dr. Nadra. Also, I noticed in the audience, we have our former director, Professor Dr. Akmal. Welcome, Dr. Prof. Akmal. It's nice to see you in the audience, mashallah, as well as welcome to all of you. We have with us three distinguished figures, very senior academics of IIUMs, as the panel members of this virtual forum, which will deliberate on, as you know, sustainable development for Rahmatan lil Alameen, ICT and IR 4 and 5 in the context of spirituality and sustainability. All three panelists will be allotted 30 minutes each to deliver their addresses. After the end of each presentation, there will be a 10 to 15 minutes time for other panel members to further deliberate on certain key issues highlighted by the speaker. As the host, I will moderate the forum, inshallah. There will be about 30 to 40 minutes of question and answer with the audience after all three panelists have presented. I would encourage participants to write down their questions on the chat box so that our panelists can then address each question or similar questions in rounds. Our first panelist is Professor Dr. Muhammad Fauzan Nordin. Prof. Fauzan received his PhD from the University of Wales in the UK, MBA from Central Missouri State University, and Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, USA. He is a professor in knowledge technology at KICT, Kuliah of Information and Communication Technology, IIUM. His book, ICT and Islam, has been used as a textbook in several universities. Currently, he is the director of the International Institute of Islamic Thought, IIIT, Southeast Asia, and the head of the ICT and Islamic Research Cluster. He was in different times a visiting scholar at the University of Bahrain, Jazan University, Saudi Arabia, and the Islamic University of Maldives. He was also an adjunct professor at the University Islam Sultan Sharif Ali, Brunei Darussalam, and at Swinburne University Technology Sarawak branch. The chairman of Cyber Security Committee for Malaysia Crime Prevention Foundation, and a panel member for the National Da'wah Policy of Malaysia of JAKIM, among others. Prof. Fauzan specializes in knowledge technology, management information systems, ICT and Islam, social networking, cloud computing, e-banking, knowledge management, and wisdom in ICT. He has contributed more than 100 books, chapters and articles in various local and international journals, apart from winning several accolades at the national and international levels. Without further ado, I would like to now invite Professor Datuk Fauzan to deliver his presentation on spirituality and sustainability, the role of ICT. Prof. Fauzan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. All praise to Allah SWT and salawat and salam to our Prophet Muhammad SAW. And again, we pay respect to our great scholars, Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qadawi, and he's very dear to us in Malaysia and around in the Muslim world. So may Allah bless him and may Allah bless all our teachers and scholars. Okay, thank you, Dr. Jannah again, Dr. Nazra, and Dr. Hamidun. Congratulations for the new appointment of Director of Centris. Also, Prof. Akmal and my panelists, Prof. Akram, Prof. Mira, and the participant. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And my topic today is spirituality and SD, the role of SCT. And I will pass the SDG to Prof. Akram and Prof. Mira. They know better than me. And maybe we also expert, Dr. Abdul Wahid also here, SDG expert. So, and inshallah, I just focus on spirituality and ICT because this is my area of interest. Okay. I will start with this ayah, Surah Al-Imran, verses 190. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layl wan nahar li ayatil ulil albab. Verily, in the creation of the heaven and earth and the alternation of night and day, there are indeed signs of men of understandings. So this is the common ayah in our universities. And I see in the, I can notice this, we are in the Zoom, we have more speakers and organizers rather than participants. And most of them from Kuliah City and River Knowledge. Hopefully from other Kuliah interest in spirituality and also the Quran and the ICT. Okay, back to this ayah. This is the integration part. And Allah SWT remind us there is a heaven and earth, night and day, and for us of the understandings. Thank you, Dr. Hamidun, for switch on your video. So, okay. So this kind of ayah is very important. They show us the integration of knowledge, integration of spirituality, and also the knowledge and technology. I will explain what is the technology, how technology relate to Al-Quran. And again, Allah SWT continue with this ayah, verses 191, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alladhina yazkuruna Allah qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim wa yatafakkarun fi khalqis samawati wal ard rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batilan subhanaka faqina adzabannar. Those who remember Allah always in prayers. I will understand not just in prayers, but all the time, 24/7, standing, sitting, like most of us now is sitting, lying down, meaning that as human being, we whether we are standing, whether we are sitting, or we are lying down. So this is the 24/7 position. We are thinking deeply about creation of Allah SWT, heaven and earth, and then we come with final analysis. Our Lord, you have not created without purpose, without maqasid. Must be maqasid behind you. Maqasid. So glory to you, exalted to be you above all the associated with your expanders. Give us salvation from the torment of the fire. Here, when Allah says the creation of earth is, for me, my understanding, is just not the natural creation, but also the technology's creation. And when we see the nature, night and day, heaven and earth, all these things, when we think deeply and we found out this Allah SWT create all of this, is just not for nothing, but with maqasid, with objective. And ICT is one of the technology that Allah created. That later I will to show how I relate this ICT with this Tawhid. For example, 0 or 1 mean 0 mean not exist, 1 mean exist. 0 mean la ilaha illallah mean 1. So la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah actually is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. But of course, you cannot equate the kalimah shahadah with just 0 and 1. So this is not, but one why I will try to tell you here, even assembly language come up with this nafi wa isbat, because the statement of nafi wa isbat very powerful, and in a way the dumb machine computer even can calculate, become artificial intelligence later on. Okay, back to this maqasid just now, or objective. Finally, Allah SWT create all this heaven and earth, technology and so on, but the final objective is, Ya Allah, faqina adhaban nar, save us from the hellfire. This is the ultimate. It's not for the commercial, it's not for the fame, it's not for the dunyawi, but finally it's ukhrawi. Of course, dunyawi is needed to reach ukhrawi. So this technology is needed to reach this Jannah, inshallah. Okay, Dr. Jannah is here. All right. Okay, I move on. Okay, back to these two ayah, simple, 190 and 191. If we can take the G's of it, there are three fundamental things in the ayah. One is zikr, yani spirituality. Number two is fikir, the technology is knowledge and so on. And number four is the final answer, shukr. And I want to relate this to Surah An-Naml later in my conclusion. What is shukr and what is kufur, and how it relates to technology. Okay, so zikr, fikir, shukr is the well-blended tri-sector or tri-main activities that for all of us, Muslim and non-Muslim, if they understand better. So zikr, fikir, shukr. Okay, I want to quote this Pak Nasir's statement way back 30, 40 years ago. Pak Nasir says, while we are developing Indonesia, do not ruin the humanity of Indonesia. Or dalam bahasa Malaysianya, dalam membina Indonesia, jangan kita meruntuhkan manusia. Jangan dalam membina negara Indonesia, jangan kita meruntuh manusia itu sendiri. Jadi kita lihat bagaimana, I just carry away, I thought it's in Malay, I want to say. How we want to develop our countries, but we forget about the humanity itself. This is most important thing. And he said long time ago, 40, 30 years ago. But now, Tristan Harris, recently, in a social dilemma, he said, while we are upgrading the machines, we have been downgrading our humanity. What are parallel statements? Partner says, see the future, Dr. Jalal, is 40 years ago, Dr. Wahid, 40 years ago. But now, Tristan Harris just realizing it, that while we are upgrading the machine, when we have been downgrading our humanity. And for those who are familiar with Tristan Harris, and we know that Tristan Harris is a former engineer of Google. Now, we're really worried what happened in the social media. I will discuss later in my discussion. Okay, back to 1988 to 1965. Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? Actually, I asked before that, where is living we lost in our life? Where is the data we lost in information? Where is the knowledge we lost in where is knowledge we lost in information? Where is the where is information we lost in data? Where is the knowledge we lost in information? Where is wisdom we lost in knowledge? This is by T.S. Eliot, a long time ago. And now we are facing it. We have too much information, but with no knowledge. The most problematic part, we are in universities. We have knowledge, but we lost wisdom. We lost adab. We lost the tartib, the behavior, the akhlaq. This is most important thing. We are more arrogant, ego, and thought that we know everything because we have PhD. I can realize it even in our young lecturers, just finished PhD, they thought they know everything. This is very unfortunate. Okay, now I'm bring back the problem they are facing now. This June 26, 2022, the Inspector General of Police, Tan Sri Khairil Sani Abdullah Sani, make his statement. We are facing online scam 71,833, and we are losing 5.2 billion ringgit Malaysia. And it's keep increasing day by day. 22 alone I just give a talk yesterday that for the MCPF, Malaysian Crime Prevention Foundation, that this online scams keep increasing. And as you can see from the wipe out the bank account, then 1.6 billion loss in online purchase. The saleswoman lost 382,000, then 38,000. There are a lot of settings. These are clean up application. They thought they're cheap, clean service, but they're losing 4,700. One Dato Ho, Hokkien Chinese, called me. He losing. Actually, it's WhatsApp to me. He losing 107,000 ringgit through Maybank. Then there's even prime ministers. His Telegram account been hacked. Then someone tried to pretend Permaisuri Agong. So this kind of thing from the normal guy, students, lecturers. We have two professors, one in North, one in the Klang Valley, losing money through this scam. Professors, okay, pilot, architect, just name it. Of course, they got this donkey account, this 10 men, they call it donkey account or Kadai account. They are quote unquote, they are not really the actor, but they're using their account. 10 men being fined because the teachers are losing 3 million, and they just fined 1,000 each. So 10,000, 10 times 1 is only 10,000, but they get still profit, what, 2.1 million or 2.9 million? So because they are losing 3 million, but they're just fined for 10,000. Of course, they not get all this money, just they got maybe 3,000 to 4,000, but the big boss behind it got more than that. And here, pensioner losing is a grand in newspaper in Malay. They said nenek hilang 4.3 million in love scam in Kuantan, Pahang. Okay, and this is they are phishing, they are vishing, they are smishing. Phishing is normal, emails or WhatsApp. Vishing is video voice. People pretend from LHDN, Tabung Haji, and so on. Smishing is SMS. They take your SMS and OTP numbers. And then now I want to focus the social media and AI. In the book from Muslim Societies and Post-Normal Time, wrote by Prof. Ziadun Sada, Scott Jordan, and Jody Sierra, they said, the event of social media has connected East and West, North and South, and an open exchange of information and communication via Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and slew of other platforms. Social media brings people together, but also divides and fragments them simultaneously. AI, now he's mentioned, from AI, from social media, he connect to AI. AI begin as automation, process readily seen industries, how retail but can grow to being integral part of manufacturing process, banking, advanced medicine, even in COVID-19. We try to get the vaccine through AI. There are advantage and of course disadvantage. But the problem part, like Stephen Hawking said, Stephen Hawking is an atheist. He said, he declared that humanity, our humanity now, was entering an increasing dangerous period of our history. He was concerned about possible the perilous outcome of super smart AI. He named it super smart AI. It's just not AI, but super smart AI. It's therefore essential for us, individuals, communities, nations, to develop a sense of directions. At least you know where to go. So I'm glad that Centris tried to say and talk about it. At least we're aware we want to know, we're aware where we are heading. So I'm glad Dr. Abdul Wahid Jalal in here, because we talk about, we have Center of Futuristic. We're aware where we are heading, alertness to the potential consequences of our current activities and choices. Now we are doing something. Then what is our choice? Do we have choice? Like, for example, one Datin is former Director General of legal unit in the Jabatan Perdana Menteri, Prime Minister's Department. He said, I'm not pensioners. I don't like online because she's losing 75,000 ringgit through tabung haji. And funny things, her money in tabung haji is more than 75,000. But within 15 minutes, she's been transferred 25,000, 25,000, 3,000, 3 times from tabung haji to her bank Islam account and to RHB, and RHB to international bank within less than 8 hours. Okay, they call her in the I think during Maghrib times, and then after Isha, he's realizing she lost the money. So she's happening, and she said, I'm pensioners. I don't want online banking. I want to go to bank offline, and I want to do physically because I have plenty of time. I'm not in rush, but I don't want to lose any more money. Because we know exactly tabung haji, their policies, their transaction policies, they can you can withdraw only 10,000 a day. That's one physical. How come you losing 25,000, 75,000 in total online? So this is a problem with integration and problem with the technical part. No red flag or no yellow flag has been raised that time. Okay, back. Sorry, Dr. Jannah. I'm carried away. It's only 14 slides. I have more than 30 slides. How many more minutes to go?
You have 14 more minutes. 14.
Okay. Back to the social issues: social justice, income disparity, unemployment, environment, technological, cultural disruption are perhaps more acute and urgent in Muslim world more than elsewhere. I think we are Muslim. We are in IUM. We should be that aware. Should alert that social justice, income disparity, unemployment, environment, technological and cultural disruption, disparity are more acute in our societies. Okay, I'll move on. And this AI, according to country business leader, AI will allow the rate innovation to almost double times 1.8, increase employee productive employment by 60%. This is the source. So they are coming. And this is a problem you are facing: lack of leadership, lack of thought leadership, and commitment to invest in AI, lack skill resource, continuous learning program, lack advanced analytic, adequate structure tools, but most importantly, lack of the hardware in peopleware. We are not equipped ourselves with the spirituality. I want to relate later. This spirituality part even I discussed with this group of the information system scientists in the Langkawi. We have Pacific Asia Conference Information System. They have scholars from Canada, US, China, Japan, Australia, Europe came to Langkawi. And finally, I chaired this workshop. They said, AI, we have to control it. We have to manage it. This same thing like Elon Musk said, we have to manage AI, not allow the AI do it independently. Okay, this is a general finding highlight adoption of global phenomena. Malaysia is not exception. Organizations are still behind in AI. Top AI applications are related to analytic and biometric. The most common AI use is intelligent process to automation to support business operations. And this is a finding by Prof. Rose Alinda, is from UTM. UTM got this project. They can come up with artificial intelligence roadmap for Malaysia. Okay, this is again the policies. Okay, now this is social media. Now we are 57% in the world staying in the city, urban, and increasing by 67%. Then internet is 62% and mobile users 58%. But the problem, you see, how in this statistic January 22 this year, that we in Malaysia number 6 in how many hours we spend a day on internet, whether good news or bad news. But you see the developing countries versus developed countries. Japan less than let me make it bigger. Sorry, yeah. Japan is only 4.26 hours. Denmark 5 hours. Netherlands 5.11. China is 5.15. And Germany 6.22. Then 5.22. Then 5.29 South Korea. Then France, Australia, Switzerland is less than 6 hours, but average is 6.58, almost 7. Malaysia spent 9 hours 10 minutes a day. 9 hours and 10 minutes a day. So I don't know whether it's good news or bad news. So I would like to say, so normally people say tepuk dada tanya selera. As for me, tepuk or clap your heart and ask your iman. Okay, whether good news or bad news. Okay, most of the time we spend in February 22, we spend 93% on WhatsApp, then Facebook 88%, then Instagram 79%. Most of them is hopefully YouTube or Facebook. Even YouTube, where is it? Yeah, I couldn't see YouTube there. There is, yeah, Facebook and yeah, I mean the WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Messenger, TikTok, Twitter, WeChat, Pinterest, and this LinkedIn and Snapchat, Skype, Line, and yeah, is most of the time we spend on this platform. Hopefully, for the sake of knowledge. Now, social dilemma. This Tristan Harris. If something a tool is genuinely just sitting there waiting patiently, if something is not a tool demanding things from you, it's seducing you, it's manipulating you, it wants from you, we move from the tools-based technology is an addition, manipulation, use technology environment. Social media isn't a tool waiting to be used, it has own goal. This by former engineer of the Google, and this is the problematic part. And the fake news travel 6 times faster than true news by MIT studies. Then this is those Justin Rosenstein, former engineer of Facebook, Google. He said when he create this like button to create happiness, motivation, but unfortunately people getting depressed because they don't get enough like. This social media is a drug. Professor from Stanford University, Anna Lambert. Then this Professor Jonathan worried about the teenagers that have been depressed, more depressed. Okay, now I want to go. Well, we have 10 minutes from Dr. Jana.
You have about 6 minutes.
Wow, wow. This the chronic part. Actually, we have 18 ayat of the of Surah Al-Hujurat, but I discussed with Cikgu Halim almarhum, and also I take this from Muslim Wife. Muslim Wife stated 9. Then I developed 10. Then after discussion, we come up with 17 guidance for social media. Is fear, ittaqullah. This is taqwa to Allah. Do not put yourself forward before Allah. Raise not your voices. This is a part of the social media. In social media, sometimes we put the capital letters. It means that raise your voices. No speak aloud. Be patient. We're not patient in social media. Verify, tabayun. This is a famous quotation. Then make peace. Sometimes we are provoking and insulting others. Rather than make peace, we are like budaya satay and cucuk, bakar, and membawang. All this I will explain later if I have time later. Act fairly. Not ridicule. We make joke of other people. Do not defame. no insult in all this in the Suratul Hujurat verses 11. And then avoid mass suspicions, not to spy another, is a stalker, not backbite. So all these and number 15, to know each other. Lita'arafu. Social media is to know each other. But problem with us, and Allah admitted that here insisting, Allah said, Ya ayuhan nas, not Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, Ya ayyuhal muslimun, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun. Ya ayuhan nas, it addressed all mankind. Allah created different tribe, different race, because to know male and female, to know each other. Do not feel yourself do a lot of good and contributed to compare other. Number 16 and number 17. Allah reminds us, Allah knows and unseen of the heaven and earth. What we are typing just maybe alone in social media, front keyboard, but Allah are looking at us and Allah watching and seeing and know what we are doing. And here is the component part, hardware. The people always know the hardware, machine, the software, the application, and who developed this hardware and software is the peopleware, and inside the peopleware is the Qalbun Salim, the hardware. And hardware deal with the and knowledge, where peopleware is knowledge with knowledge and wisdom, where hardware and software just deal in data information. And hadith Rasulullah is famous. When this part is bad, sayyat kullu jasad sayyat, and this is hasana kullu jasad hasana. And here Thompson said, when we move from data, we reach information, knowledge, and wisdom. We have more compassion. I add here more merciful. This compassion, merciful, is to do with spirituality. Actually, we are closing to Allah Ta'ala by this technology, but we go far away with less wisdom, with less compassion, with less merciful. We are like robot. And we move from ICT to knowledge technology to wisdom technology. And this part of it, hardware is the middle one, the core, but Allah is the top one. Of course, Quran Sunnah, we can put Maqasid Sharia, we can put Madani Society, we can put Wasatiyah, and so on, as long Allah on the top. Okay, this is the ayah that I want to relate to Shukr and Kufur. Here, the how the technology we see the Suratul Namal and the Qissa of Sulaiman, Prophet Sulaiman, and this Balqis, Queen Balqis, we know this using augmented reality, virtual reality, even in this Allah Ta'ala, I mean the Prophet Sulaiman asked, who can bring the throne of Balqis to me? That Ifrit Minal Jinn. Here Allah mentioned the name of jinns, yani Ifrit. And Ifrit Minal Jinn said, I will bring you in the you can trust me. I am full Qawiyun. He's capable to do it. Or here translated by full strength. But Qawiyun Amin, I also Amana. So even Ifrit talk about Amana. So I really enjoy the book from Prof. Kamal. Even now in Malaysia, we not talk about Amana. We are corruption, deal with Raswa. This is a problem. Even Ifrit Minal Jinn talk about Amana. Then the next ayah, قَالَ الَّذِي إِنْدَهُ إِلْمًا مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. Here Allah did not mention the name. Allah, I'm in front of Mufassirin and reveal knowledge. I've tried to, the way I understand, if I'm wrong, I just get one. If I'm right, I get two. So hopefully I get right. So for me, Allah SWT did not mention the name because He make it open to you and me, to all of us. Anybody can do this if they are alladhi ilman minal kitab. Indahu ilman minal kitab. So it's open. So meaning that our technology can beat the Ifrit. Ifrit can do that because he's DNA of jinn. And finally, Prophet Sulaiman said, "Qala hadha min fadli Rabbi." All this from Allah SWT. What are we having right now? Virtual reality, or this IR 4.0 or 5.0. All these things is built from Allah SWT. To do what? To test me. Liyabluwani ashkuru am akfuru. Whether we want to test me, whether I'm grateful or ungrateful, shukr or kufur. And here Allah explained, Allah reminds us the technology should be used to shukr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to kufur, not to famous, not to make just to fikir dunya entertainment, but to make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this conclusion, Dr. Jannah, we are moved from data society to data workers, data management, data communication. Anybody in computer science, we have to take class of data communication, data management. Then we move on to information technology, information communication. With information society, I believe in RF 5.0 or 4.0, we are a knowledge society or knowledge workers, knowledge management or knowledge technology, knowledge, but we should go to highest form, wisdom society, wisdom workers, wisdom communication, wisdom management. We have this wisdom communication during Prophet Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh, when he give khutbah, when he can see his army in the one battlefield, he said, do not go to the other hill, go to this hill, and so on, because then the generals heard him, and actually his voice in Medina but been heard in battlefield. So this wisdom communication. Sometimes I have to talk a lot, but I can talk to you from heart to heart. This is wisdom communication. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very, very much, Professor Fauzan. Very interesting presentation, a lot to be taken from it. I may now want to pick
I want to welcome Dr. Imran from Pakistan, all the way from Pakistan. Thank you.
MashaAllah.
Our alumni. So go ahead.
Welcome, Dr. Imran, and the rest of you as well. I want to pick from your last point, which is ICT going from data to information to knowledge and lastly to wisdom, inshallah, and relate that to your earlier point in your presentation, in that Pak Nasir said, dalam membina, I rephrase, tamadun jangan meruntuh manusia, in us building civilization, do not devalue or do not what is meruntuh, ya?
I don't know. Is Dr. Ahmad Tonji from Turkey, Dr. Jannah? Is Dr. Ahmad Tonji from Turkey or Ahmad Tonji is my student? I don't know. There are two Ahmad Tonji. Is also joining us.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. So from what Pak Nasir said, in building civilization, I re-quote or rephrase, don't kill the spirit of human being or meruntuh manusia. And from Tristan Harris, while upgrading the machines, we have been downgrading humanity. So I want to relate these three things with your conclusion, two things with your conclusion just now, ICT moving towards wisdom. So Prof. Akram, could you please comment on this?
Thank you very much, Dr. Jannah. Sorry, Dr. Jannah, again, the question.
Yeah, I am picking from what Prof. Fauzan has mentioned. Earlier in his presentation, he quoted from Pak Nasir. Pak Nasir is a scholar from Indonesia. He passed away many years ago, and he said that in building technology, in building development, or I rephrase civilization, do not what is meruntuh? Yeah, I need help to translate that to English. Meruntuh, ruin. Yes, thank you very much. Do not ruin humanity. In us developing, do not ruin humanity, something like that. And from Tristan Harris, while upgrading the machines, we have been downgrading humanity. To relate these two phrases to where Prof. Fauzan ended his presentation, in that ICT is moving from data to information to knowledge and inshallah to wisdom. So I would like Prof. Akram, if you can comment to relate
thank you.
The last
thank
point,
you very much.
Points, yeah.
Yes, actually, this is very important point. This is our aim as a Muslim, to direct our research in ICT toward the humanity services, to maqasid sharia, to hikmah, to wisdom, because currently, actually, most of the development for making money for profit-based. This is the most of the current technology we can see around us. The most available branded names in IR 4.0 and IR 5.0. Actually, the main purpose is to make more profit. So for us as a Muslim, we need to redirect the research to serve the humanity based on maqasid. And this is actually the aim for us to move toward the wisdom. It's not only to pick up the data as a data, because as you mentioned, downgrading the human being. Nowadays, I will also mention in my presentation later on how a human being now is just considered one element in the process. There's no more the controlling the process, no more leading, but is considered one element in the whole process of industrial revolution. So thank you very much, Dr. Jannah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Fauzan, can you comment on that, please? Coming back.
Finally, ICT is only a technology or tools or means is al-kalam. If I have time, that even the first ayah that revealed to Rasulullah mentioned about kalam. Alladhi alama bil qalam alama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. And Tafsir Ibn Kathir Surah Al-Qalam mentioned this hadith sahih that the first creation that being created by Allah SWT is kalam. Kalam here is just not kalam as a pen, but kalam here is a technology. It can be artificial intelligence. It can be RR 5.0. It can be big data analytics, hardware and software, as long as Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq. Read or using it in the name of Allah, the one who created you. And in Surah Al-A'la, you can see it talk about spirituality. It talk about the make ibadah, salat, and also mention about the behavior of people that like to lie, kazib. So all these things is well integrated and related. So we use kalam, we use technology to reach Allah SWT, to get closer to Allah SWT, to become more compassionate, more merciful, yani to have more wisdom, more hikmah. Allah Allah.
Thank you very much. I would like to also pick something else upon our discussion just now. We are focusing on what you call hardware, which is timely. However, I would like to bring our attention to the hardware as well, HARDWARE. For example, our laptops, our computers, our gadgets. Because the situation today is to make more profit, these things don't last long, and we end up with high-tech trash, mountains of high-tech trash. How do we handle this, Prof. Akram?
Yes, exactly. Without hardware, we will struggle with too many difficulties. It will not solve. We solve one problem for today, we will face another problem tomorrow, because the main aim of the development is far away from the fundamental of Islam. So whatever we do, we will struggle in the future. So as you mentioned, we will face more issues like this. The hardware, as you mentioned, it will work only for a very short period, and then we need to replace. We need to face a problem with wastage and so on. So this is the issue. I don't have a solution unless we back to the fundamental and the principles of Islam.
Thank you very much. Prof. Fauzan, your comment?
Yeah, we cannot blame Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or even Steve Jobs that were passed away. They don't have this proper. Now we can see even one of the comment and Tristan Harris said, I really want to come up with this something that reward human being, because George Rosenstein said we want to create the like button to make sure people happy or motivate people, but end up depressed. So they want to create the positive. Maybe the initial stage to create this good thing, positive. But unfortunately, come the businessmen, capitalists, and so on, their final maqasid. They also have their maqasid, but their maqasid is not Sharia. Where the maqasid is dunyawi, to achieve the business commercial to get profit. By the way, the metaverse, if Dr. Hamidun can correct me if I'm wrong, we always recite the Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, I mean to ask people to come to Jummah and stop the business. The asbab nuzul here, because during the khutbah by Prophet Muhammad SAW, that the businessman tijara come from Sham and reach Medina with the music, entertainment, and business. Quite interestingly, when the music interesting, the people left instead of listen to khutbah on Friday to Prophet SAW, only 15 people. And I think Abu Bakar or Omar get upset. But this ayah stated that do not, the rizqi is not based on business and entertainment, but yet it's from Allah SWT. So quite interesting. Now metaverse is dealing with entertainment and business. And people thought rizqi is from those channels, from this medium, from this social media, or now we call social commerce, from AI, from all these things can solve our human problem. But unfortunately, they will create more problem, as Prof. Akram said. So we go back to our fundamental, Al-Quran Sunnah, and try bring that to guide us even in social media, in AI, in big data analytics, and other fields. Allahu Alam.
Thank you very, very much. A very high call indeed. We now move to, thank you very much, Prof. Fauzan and the rest that gave comment, Prof. Akram. We now move to the second panelist, which is Professor Dr. Akram Zaki Kheder. Prof. Akram obtained his Bachelor of Science from the University of Jordan, Master in Computer Graphics from UPM, and PhD from UTM, Malaysia. He did a postdoctorate research at the Kuliah of ICT, IIUM. He is currently a professor at the Kuliah of ICT. He held several administration positions, such as the coordinator for postgraduate studies and then head of research at KICT. He was a deputy director of Centris since 2013 until 2021. He is a supervisor for more than 20 masters and PhD students and leading several research grants under the university as well as under national and international grants. Prof. Akram has more than 150 publications in international journals. An award-winning researcher at national and international levels, his research interests include watermarking, steganography, information security, and image processing and multimedia, with a special interest in IT and Islam, and developing Islamic applications for information system. I would like to call now Professor Akram to deliver his address, Maneuvering ICT and IR 4.0, 5.0, with the concerns of Maqasid al-Sharia. Please welcome Prof. Akram, 30 minutes for you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurjanna, for chairing this session. Thank you for Centris for inviting me to this important event. And I would like also to address the members of this session, Dr. Nazra, the Deputy Director for Centris, and the Centris team, Brother Faisal, and also we would like to welcome Dr. Hamidun as a Director of Centris starting from next month. And also here I can see Prof. Akmal, Prof. Hazizan, as well as the other speakers, Prof. Fauzan and Prof. Mira. So everybody here, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. Today I'm going to talk about maneuvering ICT and Industrial Revolution 4 and 5 with the concern of Maqasid al-Sharia. So very briefly about the content of my talk, I will discuss a little bit about Industrial Revolution 4 and 5, IoT and IoE, Internet of Things and Internet of Everything, digitizing of everything. ICT is part of our daily life, power of social media. Internet is changing the world. Digital transformation in education, specifically Education 4.0. Muslim contributions, concept of Maqasid al-Sharia, some disadvantages of Industrial Revolution 4 and in the future 5. Who is shaping IR 4.0 and IR 5.0? Research needed, research directions, and humanizing Industrial Revolution, and some concluding remarks. So I will start from one slide only. This one I would like to share the same information just now Prof. Fawzan mentioned. Actually, we are now the population in the world is 7.91 billion, and the unique mobile phone users are 67.1%, and the internet users are 62.5%, and the active social media percent is 58.4%. What we can see, what we can read from here, we are living in a digital era. ICT is part of our daily life. We cannot ignore, we cannot avoid anymore. This is the fact. So what's the IR 4.0 and in the future, IR 5.0? The main components of the current Industrial Revolution is IoT, Internet of Things, and Internet of Everything. Everything around us will be connected to this network. The window, the table, the chair, the door, the car, the pen, including the clothes, will be connected to the networks. The component also the blockchain technology, which is mean transparency and decentralization, because the blockchain technology save the information in many places. That's why the transparency here is important, and decentralization. There is no one center point to save and storage the data, but it's storage in many places in parallel. We are talking also about 6G. That means ultra high reliability in the technology. We are talking also another component of Industrial Revolution about COBIT, means collaborative robots, means safe robots, productivity and robustness. We are talking about artificial intelligence, intelligent automation, anonymous robots. We are talking about big data and data analytics and real-time forecasting. We are also talking in the current Industrial Revolution about digital twins, design customization based on the need. We also, another component is simulation and smart factories. Augmented reality and virtual reality, this is another component for Industrial Revolution. Quantum computing, cloud computing, edge computing, which enabling faster processing for big data. These are some components of the current Industrial Revolution. Like it or not, we are moving into a more interconnected cyberspace. Based on Cisco, currently we have about 50 billion devices connected to the network, including the photostat machine, fax machine, tablet, mobile phone, computer, laptop. We have about approximately 50 billion devices connected to the network. So evolution from Internet of Things to Internet of Everything. At the beginning, the industry was to help people to communicate to other people. Like car, usually I want to meet somebody, I want to visit someone, I want to go to my office to meet my student. I use the car. So the car is a technology, help people to communicate, to connect with other people. Like a phone, I want to call someone. I want to send fax to someone. So the device is just connecting between people at the beginning, at the past. After that, the people to machine. So the devices is helping people to connect to machine, like the remote control of the aircon, of the fan, the remote control to open the door of the car, the remote control to run the TV, and so on. So the device here is helping people to communicate with machine. So I communicate with machine by using another devices, another machine. And then after that, machine to machine. So we want the factory, we want the machine to detect the whatever products and to make action. So I don't need to have a human being in the process. So the machine detect, the machine take action, the machine produce. So by using, for example, sensor, the sensor find that there is one product not based on the quality. So they just avoid it. They remove it from the whatever factory machine and so on. So the technology here is connecting machine to machine. And then nowadays, what we mean by Internet of Everything, people and machine to process. So the human being is just a part of is one element of the process. So this is what we mean by Internet of Everything. Who control the other? Does technology control us? Do we control the technology? So nowadays, this question is not easy to answer. Digitizing of everything around us, we can see that now, for example, the education, our classes, our LMS, our slides, everything now digitized. So the technology now is moving toward digitizing of everything. Based on some statistic, some sectors are almost fully utilized, fully digitized. Like, for example, ICT, like media, now almost fully digitized. We can see that some sectors are still yet to be digitized. Like, for example, at the bottom of the list, we can see the agriculture as an example, is still yet to be digitized. We can understand. And construction also yet to be digitized. But of course, in the future, we will see and find a lot of applications and devices helping in the agriculture sector and other sectors as well. So everything will be digitized as well. So wearable clothes. By the year of 2025, about 10% of the world will wear clothes connected to the internet. So now, how to distinguish between a human and things? So this is the question that we need to find, because this is this question. If we don't have the answer, too many things rely on this question to, for example, to take action against someone. Maybe he's not the one who did the whatever the action, because the robots did that on his behalf. The power of social media. Prof. Fauzan also mentioned about the social media. Last time, in 20 years ago, if there's any accident, the newspaper needed 24 hours approximately to publish and distribute the news. By using internet and blogs and websites, now the distribution of news need only 12 hours. By using some sharing channels like YouTube's, like if you search in Google, you can find whatever information within 6 hours approximately. By using TVs or online media, approximately 3 hours, but by using social media, the news need only 1 hour to be distributed. And a few days ago, when Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi passed away, most of us, if not all, we knew the news from the social media, either from the Facebook or from the WhatsApp messages. So this is the power of social media nowadays. The news can be spreading very fast within social media. So these are the top websites that we can see. At the top is Google, followed by YouTube, followed by Facebook, Twitter, Wikipedia, and so on. These are the top. For example, the Google, they have approximately 92.5 billion visitors monthly. A huge number of visitors, a huge number of viewers, a huge number of followers to such websites. And for your information, this is at the left, we have the 10 top websites. All of them are service providers. They don't have such physical products to provide. They are providing information, they're providing data, they're providing services, email, search engine, and so on. This is the current situation in industry IR 4.0. So we are a consumer or producer. We are, as most of the Muslim nowadays, are observer. We receive the information, but we are not the content providers. Most of the YouTube videos produced by somebody else, by most of the whatever books, whatever information provided in the internet is provided by others. We need to be a content providers as well, not only a receiver. These are the top world's available brands in 2022. You can see the value of the brands of some companies. At the top here, we can see the Apple at $355.1 billion US dollar, followed by Amazon, 350 billions, followed by Google, Microsoft, and so on. You can see how huge a portion of investment they have. It's one company only. It's not a country. We are not talking about country. We are not talking about a few countries together, but we are talking about one company only. So globalization issue here need to be discussed. Where is our identity with this situation? So we can see the big companies is becoming bigger and bigger, and the small companies, the local companies are discharging, are closing down. This is in Google. If you go to Google, you know there are many services. I am sure many of us, if not all of us, use many of these services. There are over 271 Google products and services nowadays. Of course, some of them we are very familiar with, like, for example, Google search engine, like Calendar, like Earth, like Google Drive, like, for example, Translate, like Google Meet, like Google Classroom, like Docs, like a Chrome, Calendar, Forms, and so on. But there are some others also for specialists. But anyway, what I want to say here, that one company only, they have this number of services and products. So started with one product, and nowadays we can see 271 different services and product in one company only. Later on, if you change your house, you go to Google and change your address in Google. That's it. You don't need to go to banks and go to MSD and go to school to inform about your children in your address. Just go to your account in Google, change your address. That's it. This is in the future. So this is what's going on in the ground. And so internet is changing the world. We should be ready. Many of the local and local supplier, local companies are closing down, and huge companies is becoming bigger and bigger. Let me a little bit focus on education, since we are in education sector. Definitely the education is part of this industrial revolution. Education started with basic technology. Last time we used projector. I still have transparent paper with me. If anybody would like to get from me, I have a few boxes, transparent paper. We used to have it in the classroom 20 years ago. But and some other basic technology. And the current technology, we use the computer, laptop, data show, mobile, handset, and so on, some ICT equipment. And in the future, the robots will teach. The artificial intelligence technologies, artificial intelligent eye agent will be used in the education. Inside of education industry, the new norm of education has been created through pandemic, realizing the future of education through digital transformation. High techniques would play an important role in a new education ecosystem. Lifelong learning would play an important role in a new education. From 107 billion market in 2015, expected to be worth 350 billion in 2025. This is in the education industry. Education 4.0, which nowadays we are facing, is based on demand, based on creativity. So the key future of education, the rise of online academias. More people look for learning resources online, a growing popularity of digital books, getting rid of outdated material. Now, for example, if you have book published in 2020, 2 years ago, is considered very old. More engagement and collaboration, cloud and on-demand services, increasing of online training and resources, increasing of professional certificates, cheap educational devices and software, flexible and convenient learning techniques, open source education material, and use of augmented reality and virtual reality in education. So education 4.0, can we lead? Can we continue lead in this situation? Especially our university, our aim is to lead the way. So with this situation, we need to find a way to continue leading. So IR 5.0, I will not go through the history. I just want to mention the future of IR 4.0, which is mainly based on personalization. The IR 4.0 will focus on the cooperation between man and the machine as a human intelligent work in harmony with cognitive computing. Another definition here also from other source, also talking about the IR 5.0 mass customization and cyber physical cognitive system. I just want to mention something here. I refer to many resources who discuss about IR 4.0 and IR 5.0. So all of them, they consider the first revolution was in the 18th centuries. For example, this one considered in 1784. So in the 18th centuries, before that also considered in the 18th centuries, and so on. They consider the first revolution was started in the 18th centuries. But here I came to my mind, when the real industrial revolution was started. When did industrial revolution start? How about Muslim contribution in 8th to 14th centuries? What about the contribution of Muslim scientists in the field of science and technology? We have a lot of contribution. Why we skip all these contribution and the all discussion about industrial revolution just refer to the 18th century and after that? So if we refer to Muslim contribution, we'll find a lot in science and technology only. And currently we are authoring a book together with Prof. Fawzan and Prof. Roslina and other team from KICT, Dr. Hazwani, Dr. Adamu. So we are touching this topic about contribution of Muslim scholars in the field of ICT, in the field of science and technology. We can see, for example, Jabir bin Hayyan, he used the steganography, which is part of cryptography in his formula. Al-Khwarizmi, none in Al-Jabra and algorithm. Bani Musa in mathematics. Ibn Qurra was in statics and algorithms. So many of our current applications is based on their contributions. For example, Al-Razi, based on ethics in science and technology. Abu al-Ansar al-Farabi in logic and maths. Now, most of the artificial intelligence, they use fuzzy logic technique. So the fuzzy logic technique is, they use a lot of logic, which based on the early scholars. For example, Abu al-Wafa in math. Another one, Abu Muhammad al-Khawjani, he was a mathematician and astronomer. Ibn al-Haytham, he was in lighting and visual systems. So too many of our current devices, when we talk about LED, when we talk about computer monitor, computer screen, it was based on this contribution. So we cannot just skip and start from very recent industry. Also, Al-Bayruni in GPS system, the Al-Idrisi also in geography and GPS system. Al-Jazri also was in automation and engineering. Al-Tusi in math and logic. Ibn al-Shatir also was in mathematics and engineering. Ibn Khaldun also about philosophy of science and technology as well as the mathematics. Also Ibn Ma'ruf, and his contribution is the mechanical devices and automation. Al-Muradi in automation and robotics and modeling as well, and Abbas ibn Farnas in math.
Prof. Akram, 5 minutes.
Okay, inshallah. So this is some comparison between Muslim contribution and Western contribution. I try to draw the contribution by Muslim contribution started in the 8th centuries. At that time, we don't see any contribution from Western side. But nowadays, of course, the Western contribution started in the 13th century, and nowadays we can see a lot of contribution from Western side. But of course, this comparison is not fair, because the goal of the contribution is different. The motivation in achieving the goal is different. The impactful of the contribution to the humanity is different. So our Islamic fundamental, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, indeed, we have sent you, O Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam, only as a mercy for the whole world. He also said, alayhi salatu wassalam, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ, I have been sent by Allah to perfect good character. So this is our principle, this is our fundamentals. Maqasid al-Sharia, we have here the level of necessity, al-dhururiyat, al-hajiyat, al-tahsiniyat, necessities, needs, luxuries, and here we can see the 5 maqasid: preserving or protecting the faith, or religion, the deen, hifdhu deen, and hifdhu al-nafs, protecting the soul or the life, the wealth or mal or money, protecting the mind, hifdhu al-aql or intellect, and the 5th one is protecting the offspring or hifdhu al-nasl. So this should be the direction for our research. So some disadvantage and limitation of IR 4.0 and what's we can see in the IR 5.0, although there are many positive in the Industrial Revolution, when I mentioned about the education, about the flexibility, about the cost, about the reliability, we can see a lot of advantage, but there are also some negative elements, including more unemployment, poor working condition and poor living condition, low wages, child labor, pollution, harsh use of natural resources, wide gap between rich West and poor West, identity of the West over the identity of the rest, further ethical problems. So all these are some of the limitations beside other issues like cultural issues, like globalization issues, like computer and technology abuse. Prof. Fawzan mentioned about phishing and farming and spoofing and fake news, identity theft, also some issues related to security and assurance, confidentiality, integrity, availability, privacy, authentication, some issues related to intellectual property right, copyright issues, plagiarism issues. So that's why ethics in ICT is very important. We need to always discuss the ethics, Islamic ethics. Of course, there is some differences in Islamic ethics comparing to Western values, but I will skip this one today. So I just want to mention a little bit about who is shaping IR 4.0 and IR 5.0. Actually, the current industrial revolution is largely being shaped by a small group of people in big companies, a few governments and universities only. The rest of population worldwide are observer. As a Muslim, are we going to stay as an observer? Do you think the gap between developed and developing countries will increase or decrease? And how to minimize the gap? So this is what we need to think about. The gap between the West and the rest, there are in the what's called third world, who tend to lack reliable internet services. Nowadays in Africa, IR 2.0 is yet to be fully utilized, as nearly 1.3 billion people lack access of basic technology infrastructure. They don't have internet, they don't have electricity, they don't have power, so they don't have light. So, and we can see that some people are very rich in the other places. So I think I will just mention that research driving most of the key technology fields nowadays are now proven so exciting, have been primarily driven by military or military-related investments. This is the purpose of the technology, besides the making money to kill people. This is the many of the development. This was the purpose of the development. So that's why the ethics here, the maqasid here play a very important role. Otherwise, we will keep facing more problem and a problem. So I think what's the solution? Investment in a humanizing technology, need to promote moral ethics in ICT. We need to redirect the investment in the right purposes. I think I will stop here, and then later on in the discussion, I can add more if needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. A very loaded presentation, quite scary though, I must say. I want to pick up on something that is more home to me and to us, inshallah, in education. You mentioned before that education has moved using, sorry, not education, but the Industrial Revolution has moved from data and so on and so forth into wisdom. Now, my question is, in education, as far as again, when you mentioned that in education, perhaps we will in the future, robots will be teaching instead of us people. Now, my questions could be, would robots be, how is the possibility that robots can be murabbi? And from data into wisdom, my question would be, how do we use the power of social media for this purpose, Prof?
Okay, thank you. Actually, if we look for the movement of the industry, we will see that the movement will be toward robotics, toward more digitizing, because too many reasons. It will be cheaper, it will be faster, it will be even high quality. So regarding how the machine or robotics can be a murabbi, of course, this is we don't have such robots now can do the job of teacher and murabbi, but definitely in the slowly we will have such elements of murabbi in the robots. For example, let us say nowadays, let us move in the education field slowly. For example, if the student sitting in different countries and by using this virtual reality, they see each other like sitting in the classroom. So that means the student can study from home. They don't need to go to school. They will study in, let us say, in one of those companies. They have a university or a smart school, and the student from everywhere. We have maybe 1,000 of students in the classroom. They have no problem because everybody is sitting at home, but they can see the teacher like in front of them by using some techniques. So what's the impact of this? Impact that many of our local schools and universities are going to close down because the parents want always equality in education, and they can find equality in education in some of the international university and school. So it will be cheaper, faster, high quality. So why they send their kids to local school while they can find it better by using online distance learning? So this is the movement. This is the transformation in education. Of course, the elements of murabbi, how far this is need to be in every element. We need to test and check the murabbi elements, whether there is elements of murabbi in this technology, in this application. So I don't have such answer for, because we are talking about the whole industrial revolution. For each product, we need to discuss the murabbi elements, murabbi components. So I hope that at least I answer 50% of the question.
Prof. Mira, I see Prof. Mira there already and smiling. Can you please respond on that, Prof?
I think I would respond in my slides because I'm kind of running out of slides now, since a lot has been covered by Prof. From Dr. Fauzan as well as Prof. Akram. So I will try to cover that probably in my slides. Yeah.
Inshallah. Prof. Fauzan, how do we see the role of murabbi when education goes robotic?
Yeah, the problem is robotic did not have hardware. So I rule out the robotic can play a role of murabbi, and if the murabbi, or in this case of Jibril, can be revealed directly straight the wahyu to Prophet Salam without the appearance of Jibril itself in cave of Hira, I guess Allah SWT will do that. Of course, Allah can do anything, kun fayakun, but He wants to show us that we need Jibril to reveal to Rasulullah Sallam in physical. And that's why the revelation of Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq, it is very important for us. So the role of murabbi, and murabbi itself cannot be replaced by robot and artificial intelligence, unless Allah SWT want it so.
Thank you very much. I feel appeased with your answer. So education in the human touch will not be obsolete, hopefully, inshallah. And to bring the issue from data to wisdom, Prof, a little bit more of your input, Prof. Fauzan?
Yeah, data is important. We cannot rule out the importance or the basic of data, but we cannot just stop data. Now people say data is wealth. This is important because they equate data with the commercial aspect, not with the higher cost. So data is just raw, meaning nothing, meaningless, but you process data become information. Then information also, you know, is nothing if you don't have value. So the information has value become knowledge, and the highest knowledge is wisdom. And this part that the West or the scholars in the West cannot understand the wisdom very much. They said experience, but I add experience plus divine guidance. Yani wisdom is hikmah. You need hidayah from Allah SWT to achieve the wisdom. Maybe a lot of people have knowledgeable PhDs, professors, but sometimes the lack of wisdom, yani they don't have the hikmah, hidayah from Allah SWT. The security guard, the cleaner, not even graduate, but sometimes they even have more hikmah than the professor that used the toilet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A very profound answer, mashallah. Okay, now we move on to, thank you very much, Prof. Akram and Prof. Fauzan. Now we move on to Prof. Dr. Mira Kartiwi. Prof. Mira did her bachelor, master, and PhD studies in information systems at the University of Wollongong, Australia. The title of her PhD thesis is Electronic Commerce Adoption in Urban and Rural Indonesian SMEs. Currently, she is a professor in the Department of Information Systems, KICT, also the director of the Center for Professional Development, IIUM. An award-winning scholar, Dr. Mira was appointed as the honorary fellow at the University of Wollongong, Australia, where she has completed several research collaborations with the business faculty and smart infrastructure facility, as well as being a member of the editorial boards in local and international journals, and a consultant for financial and manufacturing sectors. Her areas of expertise include health informatics, e-commerce, data mining, information system strategy, business process improvement, product development, marketing, and delivery strategy, among others. She is a certified Moodle educator. So I think we have actually arranged you very, very well to come to the last presentation, as well as a fellow and instructor for collaborative online international learning, COIL, for the Barzinji project, Shenandoah University, USA. Prof. Mira is a passionate cyber parenting activist, very attractive, cyber parenting activist, who works closely with schools and Muslim societies to provide awareness for parents and children on the risk of going online. Please welcome Prof. Mira with the issue of spirituality and ST in the era of Industrial Revolution 4 and 5. Prof. Mira.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Jannah. And I would like to say assalamualaikum to all my teachers. I feel so nervous, and on the same time, I feel so humbled by the invitations. And knowing that two of my sifu actually have spoken earlier, now I feel much more nervous. I didn't expect it will be this nervous, but a lot of my slides actually have been covered extensively, and superb delivery by Prof. Dr. Fauzan as well as Prof. Akram. So I have less slide, alhamdulillah, means that I can just go with conclusions. On the same time, I feel that we will have a lot more time for discussion, so it's a good thing. But before that, again, I would like to thank Centris for the invitation, and I see a lot of, again, my Shaykh here, Dr. Hamidun, and a lot of colleagues. There was Dr. Prof. I think earlier there were more, right? So maybe they have to leave, but alhamdulillah, And we also have colleagues from KICT, Dr. Aznan, Sheikh Rosdi, and everyone really appreciate it. Dr. Roslina, thank you so much for being here, and colleagues from other kuliah as well. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah bless you for your time to be here, and please make sure that I will not go astray in my presentations. Please remind me if during my presentations I will have things that is go outside or astray from the values of Islam. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana li hadza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadana Allah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammad abduhu wa rasuluh. All praise to Allah, and with Allah's guidance, I have prepared hopefully things that doesn't go again outside the values of Islam, and remind me if it's not consistent with the Islamic values. But what I would like to highlight today is basically on the IR 4.0 and 5.0. It so happened Prof. Akram actually highlighted quite a lot of my topics that I was about to deliver. So I was like deleting slides. Okay, that's done. So I'm going to show just a little bit on the IR and also a bit on the reasoning why IR happens in the first place. But before I get into that, let's humor me, okay? I have these slides. I'm not sure whether anyone have watched this, but this is one of the cartoon that my son used to watch. But after a while, I said, nope, we're going to stop watching this. So this is about the robot that is taking care, like becomes the maid of the house, and the robot basically taking care of everything that the family needs, including taking care of the babies, fixing the house, cleaning the house, minding, even teaching the kids on certain values, life values. So this was quite a very famous cartoon back then in some Asian countries. It's actually originated from Asian countries, but now it becomes a huge, even more huge with that it actually been translated to many languages, and if I'm mistaken, it's been broadcasted in US as well. So I will go back to this, but let's just put this aside for now, and let's see whether this is the directions that we would like to have in the world. Before we get into 4.5 and 5.0, I think before we ask what and why, I think the what part Prof. Akram have sort of highlighted quite extensively, but I believe what underlined the Industrial Revolution, we should sort of reflect on that first, because just now Prof. Akram mentions that it actually started in 1700, in the years of 1700, which is, I think that's what I saw, that's what I've been reading as well. It's actually started around that time, and what the Muslim contributions before that, I'm very sure there's a lot of contributions. And in fact, I think we know that the history sort of diminished because of all this chaos in the world, and then a lot of contributions that Muslims have made. I think there's one very interesting videos by DeGeneres Tyson, one of the scholars in US, and that he highlighted how much contributions that the Muslim have actually contributed to the science in the before the IR, and we can see from all the terms in math, basically it actually comes from the Arabic words. So, but the problem is, if we want to find what industrial revolutions, if we want to see the reasoning of the industrial revolutions in the first place, I think we have to, based on the history that we can find at the moment, which is it's actually started with 1700. So I'm not going to go into what happened before, but just looking at this point alone on what drives the IR is very interesting, because it started with the notions of that they can actually produce things faster. So the speed is the aim, as well as the profit, of course, and things that actually comes from then on is just to actually ensure that the process of producing things get faster and get more. So product with the terms of productivity. So starting with the spinning jenny, and they have certain parts that they realize, okay, so now that we have this part, we can produce a lot more items with similar kind of pattern. And then with the proliferations of energy, things that can be produced just during the daytime, now we can actually produce even at night, and so on and so forth. So all those kind of things actually drives from very fundamental issues, which is profit making for sure, driven by, which is enabled by speed and energy. So the energy actually that makes the speed goes faster. And of course, when we have this happening, and even now, the energy is getting more and more cheaper, these things, of course, will be a lot more easier to actually achieve. And if we have a look the entire history, I think we should also put everything in perspective before we actually discuss about 4.0 and 5.0. We have to put everything in perspective, that when we look at the first IR, it's actually focusing on mechanizations. Okay, so focusing is how to make the energy cheaper so that now we can actually produce things even at night. Or now we can actually producing with machine, or now we can actually producing things that was not able to achieve with one person. Can we actually make 1 person but handle a few things, or with additional things that now the output is actually doubled, for example. So now once this done, the next thing is mass productions, and I think we know. When this happens, what happened to the society? Because the wealth is very much focused on the cities, so people from the rural areas started to see, okay, so it seems it's easier to actually live in the city because you can get job easier, you can actually be part of the modern lifestyle. And what happens is urbanizations. Okay, so people moving away from the rural areas and thinking that they can actually live a better lives in the city. And comes the IR 3.0 with the computers. Then we started to think, okay, things that we usually do in the past, now there's a machine, there's a computer that can actually do it. The knowledge that I have now is actually being replicated by the machine. So people started to think, okay, so this is where a lot of people started to see, is this moving in the right directions? But still, technology are exactly like Prof. Akram said, technology is still moving. We agree, we disagree, it's still moving. It's still developed on second basis, if not millisecond basis. So then comes the Industry 4.0 with the Internet of Things and whatnot, and data analytics, AI and what. And again, I think I don't want to repeat what Prof. Akram have mentioned earlier, but as we can see, the directions is that it geared towards, okay, so we have known humans so much, the machines kind of becomes more, in a way, trying to be human than the human itself, which is, I think this is what kind of things that we should, I think, ponder upon, whether it is who we are, whether we are like this, whether we can actually be replicated by machines, or isn't that any uniqueness that humans should actually have? Because Allah has given us so much in terms of uniqueness and strength that no other beings actually been given. So when we are actually have this, I think when it goes to IR 5.0 is a reality check. So personalizations and whatnot, those become things that makes us even more predictable. In just a few years ago, I remembered I taught in one of my classes, because so happened that I'm teaching big data, business data analytics, and big data analytics is one of my research interests. So when I taught this in the class, there's one case study which is very interesting. It was about the how Walmart, one of the retail companies in US, actually able to predict that the customer, which is a teenager, is pregnant, and yet the parents unaware. So when the parents receiving a lot of promotions about babies and whatnot, the father was very upset, very furious, and about to sue Walmart for sending such promotions to the girl, to his daughter. So when the manager was about to call and apologize, trying to clear up the confusions, maybe this was wrong, this was sent to wrong address and things like that. The father was actually saying, nope, yes, this is actually happening. My daughter is pregnant. So Walmart knows from the purchasing behavior of the daughters, and the father is not aware. So it is scary, but on the same time, I think again, it's a wake-up call. It is a wake-up call that we have been so comfortable with all this technology, we forget that this is actually just a tools. No one can actually put meanings to the tools. No one can actually put purpose to the tools unless we do. Despite AI and whatnot, I think the moment that we allow that to actually defines us, then it defines us. So I think I'm not worried very much with the technology per se. Sunnatullah, when people still have that greed, to actually make things faster, to actually be comfortable, to actually get things easier, these things will evolve. The moment that we still have, the moment that the technology still have users, it will develop. It will develop. You cannot stop. And I think what is interesting again with this kind of revolutions is that if we have a look on the past from the first IR, again I think a lot of things is kind of highlighted earlier, but on the second IR, what is the contributions is more to energy, the featuring steel, combustion engines on third. On digital revolutions, on fourth, on AI, big data and whatnot. On fifth is more to connecting. So the spirit that have been promoted through the society 5.0 is that machine and human can live in harmony. Okay, so that was the sort of promises that all these technologies trying to put when they're trying to promote the technology to all sectors, be that to manufacturing. I think because all of these were driven very much by manufacturing, but even non-manufacturing sectors now we can see there's a lot of buy-in. Hospitals, schools, and whatnot, they have started to see that certain things can be automated. But I think education sector is still kind of skeptical, but I think when it is skeptical, we also have to look at that how we actually fill those gaps. Otherwise, we are skeptical with the technology. On the same time, we don't want to learn, then we will be vulnerable because machine will replace us if our mode of teaching is still very much of just delivering what we remembered, without actually trying to stimulate how things actually should be perceived and understood. So I think that what has been the narratives from 5.0. If the human is repressible, then the machine is there. I think that those are the kind of narratives that people are trying to convey for this 5.0. And if you have a look from this comparison side by side, I'm not sure whether the previous speakers have these slides. I actually included it just now, thinking that no one has it. Okay, but if yes, then apology for having this again. So if we have a look on 4.0, the focus is on economies of scales, but on society 5.0, the focus is on problem solving, value creations. On 4.0, uniformity. On society 5.0, diversity, concentration, decentralizations, vulnerable, resilience. So these are the kind of narratives that people put on society. They don't call it IR 5.0. Most of the technologies they would prefer to call it society 5.0 is the notions that I think we should look at the machine as something that coexists with us. Okay, so it probably sounds exciting, but for me, it's more worrying if the fundamental issues we haven't solved, which is who are we? Who are we as a human? All right. If we have a look again, the IR as I've mentioned earlier, is driven by manufacturing sectors, specifically by manufacturing sectors. There's a lot of things that has been happening in the past with the smart factory, and people said it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Don't worry, it's tomorrow. Today is still as is. Everything is just the same. And yet we are seeing a lot of companies shutting down. A lot of people laid out from the job because of the company is no longer needing them. And I've heard in Malaysia, there used to be quite a lot of Indonesian last time as skilled workers in the factories. Now they have went back to Indonesia, and many of them, it affects not only manufacturing, but also other sectors as well. And they are skilled workers. So in this case, I think what is interesting is that smart factoring is not tomorrow. It's happening today, and we should be aware that this, if we are not equipped ourselves with whatever it takes to actually survive, I'm not sure whether survive is overrating, but to actually find the purpose of our living, our being, then we are opening the door. Unconsciously, we are opening the door for this to actually happen. So about the smart factory, let me just share with you all this. One of the videos, I'm not sure whether it's actually shared properly. Okay. Okay, so this is what people
We've shown you the renderings. And
talking
now
about the smart
we're
factory.
backing up the hype. The smart factory is on. It's here. And we're ready to show you right now. 60,000 square feet of advanced manufacturing technology you can touch. Not a theoretical pie-in-the-sky idea, not some showcasey thing. Tech and capabilities to transform the way you do business today. Through custom simulations of smart factory applications, you can test, explore, and learn from the latest innovations in manufacturing. Factory and network optimization, quality sensing and detection, workforce and warehouse efficiency, energy management, and more is happening here. And you can watch it all play out through an end-to-end industrial scale production line, a fully connected cyber-protected tech stack, and the factory's operations command center. Hey, Spot, can you go check on your friends? Why'd we do it? So you can tap into the collective know-how of our ecosystem and workshop the art of the possible, walking away with a roadmap tailored to your company's digital transformation goals to help you drive performance improvements in velocity, cost, quality, and safety across your entire digital supply network. To make a difference for the next generation by making STEM education more accessible to young people. And to help the world at large by powering all of this with net zero emissions using sustainable and renewable technologies like solar panels and wind turbine trees. The best part? This is just the beginning.
Okay, so
We've
again,
shown you the renderings.
okay, so just want to highlight, as we can see, it's not tomorrow, it's happening now. Now, as of today, such technology exists, such environment exists. So for us to keep denying, or it won't be out in our life, maybe it's in our children's life, I think that's a bit overrating, because nope, if you read wide enough and deep enough, you would find this is happening around us. It's just that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And another thing that perhaps one of the things that is quite interesting to highlight from one of the digital transformations consultant is that when he said Industry 5.0 will continue revolutionizing manufacturing system by taking away repetitive tasks from humans. As we continue evolving, cheaper robots will become more accessible and affordable organizations. It is estimated that Industry 5.0 will create more jobs than it will eliminate. Okay, so I have highlighted this, but the new skills will be required in the areas of intelligent systems, robotic programming, new emerging technologies, innovations, and creative roles. It changed, the world changed. So for us to think that what happens yesterday, I think we are very much in the denial stage that something have changed if we not equip ourselves, if we're not giving all these narratives to our children, that they have to start thinking critically, give them the ability to actually read the informations, not just absorb the informations, process the informations. Data is just data. But the ability that is missing today, I think we are, especially in the education system, are very much lacking in terms of stimulating critical thinking, in the sense that it's okay for students to actually ask questions that may not be included in our syllabus, but that probably things that they would need to actually answer or put a lot of things in perspective, because they've read more than what we've read today. And it is quite interesting as well as when I ask my students, okay, so how many of you still read books? They're students, right? But when I ask how many of you still read books, I can see some hands. So I said, okay, so maybe not books like hard copy books, but I thought that if it's not that hard copy books, perhaps you read ebooks, right? So some more hands raised. But okay, so any kind of books, a lot of hands raised. Okay, so what kind of books is that? Facebook. Okay, so this is absolutely not the kind of things I'm looking for. But yes, they're reading different kind of things to us, and they got different kind of informations. The problem is the skills to process those informations that we are lacking in making sure that this is not the kind of books we would them to spend a lot of times reading. And let's have a look now. I think one other thing that I would like to highlight is on how this affects the Muslim Ummah. I was actually expecting Prof. Akram to actually highlight this because he's talking about maqasid of Sharia. But okay, but anyway, maybe it can come during the discussions later. But if I may highlight a little bit on the Muslim Ummah, the reality of Muslim Ummah today. These are the map of Muslim Ummah as of 2015. And as you can see in here, it's basically dominated around these areas, okay? Middle East, Southeast Asia, and some parts of India. But it's very minimal in other parts of the world. Yes, there are Muslims everywhere, but it's in terms of populations, it's very minimal. So while having this mental model in our mind, let's have a look on the map of internet users. Okay, so if we have a look of the map internet users, it is quite a lot of other parts of the world, but kind of minimal in the Muslim countries, except the one in Southeast Asia. And what is the thing that we have to be seeing from this from the map is that the technology is very dominant in some parts of the world, but very minimal in the Muslim populated countries. What happens with this kind of phenomenon is that when the technology is driven by populations with very minimal concern on spiritual and sustainable, I think SD maybe that's a global agenda, but on the spirituality, we can see that the technology keep moving, but it has no values that attach to it. And yet we also still challenged with the economic issues, where a lot of wealth is actually distributed not in the Muslim countries. Although, yes, we do have a lot of tycoons in Muslim countries, but in terms of wealth distributions, it's still not enough. It's not enough to actually making sure that they can actually say no to certain informations that might actually jeopardize them. As we can see now, more and more Muslim by identity, but they are actually moving away from the Islamic values because they have not been, perhaps again going back to education, it's not being educated enough on seeing what is the right thing or what is the right purpose of technology. And again, I think I have seen this, probably the slides that Prof. Akram has, so I would just skip this. Another thing that I would like to highlight, yes, we are so connected. Yes, technology is so developed, but this is one interesting findings from Japan. They are so lonely. Okay, this is one of the interesting results from the Japan research on the numbers of people in the world, that now the proportions of people in the world that feels they don't have anyone to consult with. technology is so much, the technology is so connected, but the human is so disconnected. And as you can see in here, Japan, even though I remember Prof. Dr. Fauzan mentioned about that Japan have less numbers of internet hours, but still in terms of loneliness, it's still there. And in fact, it's leading. So less internet doesn't mean people are more connected. And in this case, I think what is the things that all with the K-wave and whatnot, South Korea is getting there. So I think this is something that we have to think and again reflect upon. The trend is getting worse with now a lot of and more. The numbers is increasing. I don't know where this world is heading, but a lot of people now discussing about marrying robots. And recently in Japan, one man marrying hologram. So what's this technology? If we are talking about the technology, I think we have enough narratives to make sure, okay, so this is beneficial for the mankind. But when you detach technology from values, it getting one of the things that will be jeopardized is the human being itself. That's why in Maqasid al-Syariah, one of the concentrations is about the lineage, right? So if we have this, then the aging populations is real for all countries, not only for developed countries. And what I would propose again is let's go back to the purpose of, let's put our missions to put the human back to its purpose. So in the case of the earlier narratives that the earlier pictures about ARPO, the robot as the one who is responsible to taking care of the babies, I think that is in a way happening today, maybe not in the form of ARPO, maybe in the form of gadgets and things like that. We have been allowing so much of those technology to instill values to our children. And this is usually what I would that I have been highlighting to a lot of cyber parenting sessions, because what our children needs the most at the moment is, I think, a lot of sessions with us to making sure they understood the things that they see, things that they've heard, things that they've experienced in the right context. And it will not be robot that will be able to do that. It will not be machines that will be able to do that, because the touch of parents, I think I'm very sure everybody have heard this, our touch as parents to our children, when we actually hug them, when we actually kiss them, when we actually give them love, that will stimulate a lot of neurons in their brains. No machines can actually do that. So if we think that we are replaceable by the machines, I think we have to look at ourselves. Have we done the things that humans should do? If not, then maybe we are just allowing them to replace us. Not that they want to replace us, I think, because they will not have anything. They will have no purpose unless we allow them to have purpose. And last, I would just conclude with this: rather than seek the reward of the hereafter by means of what Allah has granted you, without forgetting your share for this world, and be good to others as Allah has been good to you. Do not seek spread corruptions in the land, for Allah certainly does not like the corruptors. So yes, we are looking forward to go to Jannah. As a Muslim, we are so saving ourselves in the day where people are kind of struggling to collect the good deeds, even the small bits, just to make sure they actually able to pass the Sirat. I think this is what we have been dreaming. But look at around us. Being good by ourselves will not be meaningful if we don't allow societies to also understand what technology means to them. And just focusing on our family, just focusing on ourselves without enabling the societies to actually understand this with the right context, I think that would again allow the weakest link to actually probably eventually will get to the people that we love. So I remember when I visited one of the ustads in Jogja a few years ago. He is the only man, the only house in the village that doesn't have pagar. My English suddenly the
Fence.
the gate, yeah, the fence, sorry. The fence. Out of so many houses in the village, he doesn't have that fence. So I was wondering, like all the houses, like all high fence, or even like the house in front of him have a very high fence, but his house doesn't have fence. And I was wondering why. Don't you feel worried that someone might actually get into your yard and take away all those fruits and whatnot. And he said, no, I'm taking care of them. I'm taking care of everyone here. So by taking care of everyone here, I know they will become my friends. So when I heard that, and I came across one of the ayah in one of the Surah Al-Isra, I think, in ahsantum li anfusikum, then I remembered, okay, so this is what we have to do to actually to guard our ummah, is by taking care of them. Just being by good, just focus on yourself, just being a Muslim, just being a good Muslim is not enough, because it will be zero-sum game. But we want to get the sum of us, SUM, the total of us. We don't want to sacrifice some to actually us to feel better. But I think what we need to be at the moment is as dua is to take care of everyone, so they will become our friends. And these kind of narratives has not been enough in our special education sectors. And I really hope by today all of my teachers would be able to put emphasis on this, so we can take care of each other, and may Allah bless us and reward us for our good deeds. So it becomes our good deeds, not only becomes the fans for us in the hereafter, but also becomes the fans for us in dunya, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. All the right things is from Allah, and of course, I'm as a human have a lot of weaknesses. I think a lot of things that I have covered today have a lot of mistakes, and I'm looking forward for everyone to remind me so that I can go back to the right path. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu fikum jami'an. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof. Mira. I like to pick up from what you have mentioned. Technology has been detached from values, thus jeopardizing humanity itself. And then what we have discussed before, that machines and robots cannot be murabbi. And then I recall one of the projects that my students did was to disconnect in order to reconnect. Here it means to disconnect from the Internet of Things to reconnect with humanity. Now, how do we put all of this together? How do we fill the missing links? Maybe I would go back to Prof. Akram.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Jannah, and many points actually just now covered by Prof. Mira. I agree actually with what Prof. Mira just mentioned about the current industrial revolution and the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She ended her presentation. The best thing to do is to focus on our ethics, our self, how to be a good Muslim. Regarding your question, Dr. Jannah, I think one of the easy thing now is to direct our research based on the need, based on the real need. We have a maqasid, we have very clear, our aim very clear, our objective very clear. Here also in our university, we have very good vision and mission, very clear to everyone. So let us direct our student, our research, our project toward this direction. Very easy. So the research needed nowadays, we can, for example, let us focus on better use of built environment, clean energy, for example, eliminate of disease, reducing crimes. Prof. Fauzan just now mentioned about many crimes happening. So let us focus on some of the research, can focus on having, let us say, technique or applications to reduce the crime. So this is how we need to deal with this kind of issues. And many other things we can direct our research, for example, for lower pollutions, for helping refugees, for extend human capacities, education, making labor market work well, improving efficiency of urban environment, for example, improve life ability and affordability. I mean, too many things we can work with to achieve our vision and mission.
Thank you
Dr.
very
Jannah.
much. Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Fauzan.
Yeah, I want to relate this with your students' project. But before I answer it, I want to ask you, why during Ramadan we are so good, so nice? Is a moderator keep asking panel, now panel asking you. Because we make it informal. So why so in Ramadan we are so good, so nice?
I guess because everybody is the drive. This is 1 month, let's get the best out of it. And then after Ramadan, reality kicks back and then we forget, maybe.
Yeah, my answer is in IT, how to connect the spirituality and IT. In IT, we have a GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. During Ramadan, we are very particular our input. We input, process, and output. We do not eat during the days. We eat during the night. Then we do not backbiting. We more reciting Quran, more spiritual input, more tadarus, more taraweh, more tahajjud. Then the process is good. The output is our behavior and akhlaq. And medical doctors also said so. We are less problematic in health in Ramadan to compare Shawwal and so on. Why? Because we are particular in input. We control our input. Then come to a word question of fasting. So I did fast from Facebook, as your students project said, disconnect to connect. I fast on Facebook for 1 year. I did not upload, did not look at it, do not see anything. I want to disconnect with Facebook. I want to make sure I'm not addicted to Facebook. I make experiment to myself. Alhamdulillah, I did it. I successful fast for 1 year. And I know that, I mean, we have to experiment whether you can fast from the gadget. For example, can you just without gadget for prayer and put it back just for one night or a couple hours? Try it. If you control your input, actually fasting, it control your behavior, control your spiritual, control your hardware. So this is how we can control our hardware, and actually we control the software and the hardware to control ourselves, people where inshallah we can achieve the wisdom, the ultimate goal that we are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu alam.
Thank you very much, Prof. Fauzan. Going back to you, Prof. Mira, disconnect to reconnect and then taking care of each other. Your comment, please.
Okay. Yeah. So just now on the pictures, one of the pictures that I show, the man marrying a robot, right? So maybe that's the same thing that they will say when they marry the wife and they said, I don't think this relationship is work, better disconnect. So maybe rather than divorce, it will be disconnect. So in that disconnect, it is disconnect. But I think the disconnections that we want to have here is not just disconnect in terms of moving away from technology, but disconnect and reflect. I think it's more to reflect than just disconnect. So disconnect, if just disconnect, but it doesn't really stimulate our thinking why we're actually disconnecting in the first place, then it will gear towards the, I'm not sure that's the term in psychology, if I'm mistaken, as cognitive dissonance. That, okay, so I have tried to move away from technology, but still I'm drawn back to it because even those people who are moving away, they still think the same. So I think that what worries me if our just disconnections is what makes us succeed. I think what we need now is reflection, reflecting, think deep on the and there's one book called Deep Work by one of the scholars in if I'm not mistaken, from MIT, that when you move away from technology, try to think about your work deeply. Why can't these things? I mean, like when we move away, can we put more quality to it? Can we put more creativity to it? Can we put more meanings to it? So I think in that case, when we are disconnected, it has a purpose. So not just moving away from the technology, but what do we feel between the gaps? I think that's what matters the most, because as I said earlier, disconnections means a lot to many people, and even to those people who moving away from the wife of robots, they would probably would say the same thing. I'm disconnecting you. So yeah, Allahu Alam.
Thank you very much. Disconnect.
Dr. Jana.
Reflect. Yes.
Dr. Jana.
Yes.
Yeah, disconnecting here doesn't mean that you, like disconnecting with his wife, then he connect back to the robot, then disconnecting the robot, connecting. But actually, he's disconnecting with the outside of himself, but he did not control his desire, his nerves. This is a problem. Like the reflections, more important is to control your hardware. It's just not take it, this gadget, throw the husband or throw the wife or throw the robot. It's not things, it's yourself. Then we remember the hadith by Rasulullah after Badr, the big jihad. Then Rasulullah, there's a bigger jihad is within yourself. Fight your nafs. So it's not the word connect or disconnect is a problematic part here. The problem is yourself, how to manage your desire. The fasting is, I think, the better word. The fast meaning that doesn't mean that you when you fast, the food is haram, but you control yourself. You not eat during this time. So it doesn't mean that be with your husband and wife is haram, but not during this period of time. So it's a control and manage yourself.
Thank you very much, Prof. Fauzan. Now let us look into the questions that are here in the chat box. I would like to call upon our participants to also still write down your questions. I'm going to read them now. Among the questions, there are some comments. A comment by Dr. Abdul Wahid Jalal Nouri. We shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. This is from a quote from McLuhan. And then from Dr. Aznan, we must be careful not to lose to machines. Humans must always be above machines. Humans go to Jannah, machines don't. I like this expression. Thank you, Dr. Aznan. And from Dr. Abdul Wahid, again, we need a paradigm shift, a real reform in our education system. In the current world, being illiterate does not necessarily mean being unable to read and write. Rather, it means being unable to use technology and being unaware of both its benefits and drawbacks. Okay, I think this is a question now from Prof. Roslina. Research works on social media, particularly Facebook and Twitter, highlighted the needs on the side of ICT experts for an involvement from experts in sociology. We have involved scholars from Islamic studies, etc., and that has been great. But involving to a higher degree scholars who are significantly well-versed in sociology or Islamic sociology would be a great addition to sustain a value-based social media or Facebook. What possibly could be the reasons that such an interaction is missed in our effort in adding value to Facebook, etc.? Can we get, let's say, Dr. Mira to respond, please?
Oh, I was hoping I'm the last one. Okay. Okay, let's go. Okay, so the main question is what the lack of integrations between technology and social domain, right?
The integration between involvement of sociologists, especially Islamic sociologists, to fashion the Facebook and whatever other means of social media to be more in line with the Islamic objectives.
Okay, I think the questions can be answered with the questions. How many of us, like today, say, have actually put the colors to any social medias that we have interacted with? What I meant by colors means things that drive change to those who ever seeing our posts, things who have seeing our commands or things like that? If yes, then probably that could be a start. But the main disintegrations, I think, because we always perceive that it always us against technology, rather than how can we, I think the most important narrative and the most critical narratives now is how to drive this technology into the right purpose for us. How this help us as a teacher, how this technology help us to actually deliver our contents better with the right purpose, giving the right context, so that the students understand better when they go outside and see the technology. They know how to use such technology, and not only they know how to use such technology, they can actually produce with the technology. They can actually say the same thing with other people, that this technology is just a tools, and I put the purpose to it. Learn from how I put the values, learn from how I make values by using the tools. I think now that is what missing a lot from the narrative. So not so much of, I don't see any disintegrations. I think what I see is skepticism, not disintegrations per se, but skepticism, that we always think that it is us against technology. The more we bring these narratives, and the more frequent we bring these narratives, the more people will see that that's a Muslim world is just Muslim world, and it's like us against the Muslim world, which is not. Muslims is everywhere. The one that I showed just now, the map, is the very dense populations of very dense countries with the Muslim populations, but Muslims is everywhere, even in the West. So those people actually be part of all this. I'm very sure there's a lot of Muslims works in this giant tech company. But what can they do if they actually just work with the technical domain, but on the other side, the Muslim is attacking them with not by giving a constructive or productive feedback on how to put purpose to the technology that they're actually creating. So I think this is what we need. The more we put the boundaries, the more it will become segregated, and the more the values will be defined by them, not us. I think that's my opinion. Wallahu alam.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mira. Prof. Akram?
Thank you, Doctor. I think beside what Prof. Mira mentioned, actually the integration is very important. This is the transdisciplinary between ICT and sociology. But I think not only the sociology, we need other fields as well. For example, the education. For example, the health science. So we need to have a multidisciplinary. So ICT can contribute a lot to all these fields. So we need to encourage such integration of knowledge in all these sectors. So the sociology was just mentioned by Professor Sina, but because she's focusing on the social media, which is correct. But beside this challenges, the social media challenges, we have many other challenges. That's why the integration here is very important, and ICT can play very good and very important role here. Maybe in my presentation I mentioned about some challenges and issues, but definitely there are many advantages and good things we can see from the Industrial Revolution. As an example, I always mention that there are some ulama in their Facebooks. They have more than 30 million followers. So that means the communication with their peoples, with their followers are very active. So this is one good points, how to make use of the social media, how to make use of Facebook in the good manner. So that's why is to utilize the ICT in the good manner. This is one of our very big role here in KICT. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Fauzan, would you like to comment?
Yes, I want to comment, and I want to share with this slide. If you look at this slide, the ICT components is just not hardware, software, but most important thing is the hardware in the peopleware. These four components must be together. It's not you and versus we versus them or them versus us. It's we are together. So the stammer saying that if we don't do anything, they will replace us. They will refer to artificial intelligence. It's wrong. They're part of us and we are part of them because we are the hardware. We have the hardware, we are the peopleware, and we the one that invent or create or develop artificial intelligence, big data analytics, all those machine learning or deep learning or deep fake. The human being the one created it. Who control whether you want to do deep fake or deep learning is the hardware. Whether you want to do this scam or not scam is the hardware. This is why we have to control the hardware. While we control the hardware, alhamdulillah, we have a good Hasana peopleware, and the peopleware they will control the machine, hardware, software that in it, artificial intelligence, smart Internet of Things or Internet of Everything, smart gadget, smartphone, whatever. But we the one that control it. We the one that lead. We should become imam, not become ma'mum or just a consumer. Allahu Alam.
Thank you very much, Prof. There's a comment here from Dr. Sophia. She would like Prof. Mira to share your page on cyber parenting. So Prof. Mira, please do so. Share with us your cyber parenting. A question.
Sorry, Dr. Jannah. I think Ustazah Sophia is more knowledgeable than me, so I feel shy to actually share. But I do have one ebook in Bahasa Indonesia. I will share with Dr. Jannah. Perhaps I will send personally to Ustazah Sophia. It's a small effort, but I really hope that as a parents, we can also see, again, with the same spirit, technology is just technology, and what the kids, our children, our students using is just a tools. We are the one that will be asked in the hereafter how much effort have we put in on making sure they understood how to use the tools properly.
Ustazah Sophia, you can visit the Cyber Security Malaysia website. They have the cyber parenting and the LPPKN, Lembaga Penduduk Keluarga Negara. They also come up with the cyber parenting skills, and they have modules in it. So you can visit the both website LPPKN and also Cyber Security Malaysia, CSM. Thank you.
Perhaps, Prof. Fauzan, you can type it in the chat box and the participants can benefit.
Okay.
A question here by Halimana Lugua. She said, while I agree that robots cannot replace the role of Murabi completely because of hardware as stated by Prof. Fauzan, then how does the education system address the issue of lack emotional connection between the educators and students? Anyone volunteers to respond to this? Maybe we start with Prof. Fauzan.
Well, emotional things is the hardware is the emotional things. The wisdom part is the emotional things. So the robot now, even this Sophia, they try to put the element of emotional. For example, Sophia now can smile, can make joke, can make. But you can see the joke by Sophia is algorithm, and the smile is not real or natural smile. It's fake smile. So whatever you want to input into the Sophia or robot is not the same as Allah SWT input hidayah to human being. So again, the hardware, I mean the spiritual is connect with hardware and connect the hidayah from Allah SWT. So we have to instill that. I'm not educators in terms of expert education in Kuliah for Education, but I can suggest that we have this famous concept in the Falsafah Pendidikan Negara, the National Philosophy Education, that we have these three components: Jasadiyah, Aqliyah, and also Ruhiyah. So the three components must be together. We cannot neglect one of them. Thank you.
The second part of this question by Halima Nalugua, why she asked the question is because there are issues of emotional disconnect where students do not feel safe to ask certain questions and thus use technology platforms especially social media, to find answers in fear of judgment by the educators. So your comment, Prof. Akram.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jannah. So I think the robots here is a solution, not a problem. So in this case and other cases, sometimes the students are in some places that they don't have a school, for example. So the technology, I'm not talking only about the robots, because robots is one kind of technology. So the technology in general is a solution. So improving the quality, reducing the cost for better for our student. So that's why we use the technology. So the robots here is not by like or don't, or we don't like. This is the technology, the future technology. The people will study by using these tools. So now the question is how to build the emotional, how to build the Murabbi elements, some, if not all, some Murabbi elements in the technology, because the people going to use it. And what we can see from the, if we see the past, the history, and we read the future, we see that the more technology will be involved in the education sector. So it's not by, maybe I don't agree or agree. This is the situation, actually. So now how to humanize the education, I mean the technology in education, how to humanize the robots. This is the question. So we need to play a role here to embed some, like how Prof. Fawzan also mentioned in his talk, about to make the robots smiling, to make it listening carefully, and so on. So this is how we need to make the robots, because this is the fact is not, yes, I know that robots will not go to Jannah. The users, the developer, I am sure we agree about this, but now the more people going to use this kind of technology. And we can see that now, for example, let us say, last time we used to have too many travel agents everywhere. Now we see that we don't have. Very difficult to find a travel agent. Very difficult to find a photography shop. Last time in every shopping mall we have many, 2 or 3 shops for photos. Now we don't have. So same thing in other sectors. So in education, the people will try to find better quality in some of these classes online, with cheaper, better, faster. Now our students, sometimes they spend many years, but you can see how many verses or how many chapters in Quran they memorize. If they can do this one faster by using a computer, do you think the people will send them to the traditional school? Definitely no. The parents will send to the better education, to the cheaper, to the high quality. So this is the things. That's why we need to understand the situation, and we need to try to adjust. There is a lot of limitation, a lot of disadvantage. I mentioned in my slides a lot of issues, a lot of disadvantages, but we need to adjust, try to adjust as much as we can, and redirect our research to the benefit of humanity based on maqasid.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Mira, I want to go back to this question. How does education system address the issue of lack of emotional connection between the educators and students? Prof. Mira?
Thank you, Dr. Jannah. I think I would answer the entire questions because I can see the context that the sister is actually trying to ask. When I think about education and things that actually motivates me about education is it is supposed to be a safe environment. Education is supposed to be a safe environment, safe to learn, safe to teach, safe to nurture. And because that's what we learn from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he teach, when he educate, when he nurtured the Sahaba. Because I keep asking last time, because I want to know what is the first thing, what is the things that was first emphasized by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Back then he was not Rasulullah yet when he was started the da'wat, when he started the preaching of Islam. When I look at the book, one of our colleagues actually wrote the books. Prof. Zahirin actually wrote these books about, I think, fake da'wah, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote he mentioned in the book that the first few topics that was highlighted was about taking care of the neighbors. So what was actually built when people is trying to learn is a safe environment, safe for the learners. So now we have a look on these kind of situations in education sectors when the students raise their hand and they ask, why do you ask that questions? Why do you have that questions? Don't you listen to me? Don't you think that that questions is good questions? That kind of questions, that kind of answer is not a safe environment. It doesn't make a safe kind of environment for the students to learn. So now the problem is now they have options. They don't have options in the past. So if our justifications, I have been trained like this and I'm okay now. I have been trained like this and see, I'm someone now. You were actually raised on the time where you don't have options. The students now, they have options. They have options to actually read and more and dig. The problem is when they're moving away from us, when we are pushing them away from us by not giving a sign that it is a safe environment to learn, they will stumble upon answers which they were not ready to actually process. And that's what makes me worried. I think when we are not giving them a good environment, a safe environment, I think Google even mentioned it as a psychologically safe environment. I think it's sad that it actually comes from them. But in Islam, if we dig out our literatures, there are so many things that actually safety, making sure that the learners are safe is the thing that we have to emphasize earlier. Once they are safe, then they can connect. Don't expect they will connect when they are not feel safe. So I think that would be something that perhaps we can ponder upon. Thank you. Wallahu alam.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mira. I would like to read a comment here by Dr. Abdul Wahid. I believe that dealing with the technology is not singular experience. Example, even in IIUM, we as staff and students living in the same campus experiencing the technology in different ways, and that's heavily influenced by our personal background. The technology is also something that we alone create. Some of us really embracing technology while others trying their best to escape them. Indeed, to some extent, our battle is between those rushing toward it and those wanting to travel backwards to the past. Crucially, we are already becoming paralyzed by future possibilities. I believe with the advancement in technology, anything is possible. Next is from Muhammad Rushdi Muhammad. He says the basis is that technology is a tool, human is a user, and we need to be a user with knowledge, values, and ethical standard. Every single interaction that we have with technology will be recorded, accounted, and questioned. Your comment, Prof. Akram.
Agree. So this is remind us actually when I see this is you mentioned Brother Rushdie here about our action is recorded, and so this one actually reminded us about that everything is recorded, not only because the technology is around us, but and the CCTV is here in the room or not in the room, but actually everything recorded, and we are accountable in the day of judgment. We will see everything in front of us. وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. So everything, we will see our history in front of us. So this technology now is reminded us about what's going on, and make it easy for us to understand, because maybe some people, they said, how is the recording here? How is so we can see now the human being also can record the action, can record the movement. So definitely the recording by angels is more accurate and more perfect. So Besides that, actually, just now also I want to comment on what Prof. Mira just mentioned about the technology used in the school nowadays. I agree with her about the education and safe place. I have no comments, but the tools and the technology used in the school, actually, in the past, the tools was very basic. During the Prophet ﷺ, he made use of very basic tools. He draw in the dust. There is one hadith that he draw lines, he draw a square, and he mentioned that this is the line of Siratul Mustaqim, and these are the line of Shaitan. So this is the tools available. In another hadith, he carried a stone. He carries stones, few stones, and he throw away one of the stone. So he used the tools available at that time to teach the companion based on available tools. So now we have different tools. So we want to make use of those tools in a better education, in a better, in high quality teaching and learning. So this is what we learn from from the hadith, from the sunnah, from the seerah. So it's not to ignore the tools and available technology now, but to make use of them for the better.
Thank you, Prof. Prof. Fauzan, comment on what Muhammad wrote?
Actually, it's just a comment from Brother Rushdie. I
Yeah.
agree with him. No comment.
Prof. Mira?
I feel nanti derhaka kalau komen gurunya ini guru saya. He is my teacher. He's my sheikh. So I fully agree. I fully support you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. There's no more question, but there are comments here about the robot Sophia by Dr. Sophia. She said, scary, the robot named Sophia. Prof. Fauzan, my name is Sophia too, and I am a human being. Is there any wisdom behind giving the robot this name? Prof. Fauzan.
I don't know. The one who developed Sophia is from Hong Kong. But as Dr. Azlan said, now Sophia becomes Saudi citizen. And why they name it Sophia, I don't know. I have no idea. Otherwise, maybe for Akram or others want to say why Sophia has been named. But Sophia over there and Sophia in Malaysia is totally different. Here we have wisdom, inshallah.
MashaAllah.
To ask question maybe.
Rahmira, do you want to comment on Sophia the robot?
No comment either. I think it's just a coincidence, Ustazah. Don't worry. Incomparable for sure.
Prof. Akram?
I think not about the name exactly, because if not Sophia, maybe it will be Mira, or maybe it will be Jannah. So regardless, the name is exactly, but maybe they want to tell that this robot is more close to a human being. That's why they give a name and they give a citizen, and not really because this exact name or other reason. But I think they try to tell people that now we need to think about the robots that can be with us, can move with us, can talk to, maybe to replace the cashier, to replace the taxi driver, to replace. So we need to be familiar working with different robots. Maybe this is the reason. Allah.
Prof. Akram. Oh, sorry. Dato Hamidun raised his hand. Yes, Dato.
Thank you very much. You give me this opportunity. It's just a short one, and it is very enlightening and exposure by especially Prof. Fauzan in the beginning, and then taken up by Dr. Akram, Prof. Akram, and in the end, Mira is going into the application in the education. And what crossed my mind now is that perhaps we would have to go back to the Ghazalian concept of the faculties of the human being, because in the end we are mentioning about the heart and then the wisdom and so on and so forth, and also wisdom is, as mentioned in the hadith, is a lost thing of a mu'min. He will take it whenever he finds it. So not necessarily you will be just in our religion or from our Muslim people. It can also be from other people from the old books and so on and so forth. This is one thing. So we have to go back to what make up the human being, because in the future, we might have a lot more things. Even Michikaku was mentioning about the development in science and technology is exponential in nature. It's not linear. And some of them were mentioning that we are nearing to the end of the exponential graph, and we are coming to a bit of a plateau, which I doubt it. And according to the scientists, the development, our development, according to the Gardashev scale of utilization of the energy of what our planet can produce, we are at 0.7. We are not even 1 yet. And people are talking, sending things to Mars and so on, because they're looking about the second tier civilization. This is one thing. That human being, that creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that what they call it is created from the physical, and something from him becomes the spiritual. That's something that very lowly in nature, yet close to divine, and it is elevated by Allah to be the Khalifa and to be the most beloved among the creations. The chief among them is called Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we cannot except go back to really understand what is the makeup of this human being. Then all the things surrounding it, will just be, I have my own name, but it's too long, so I won't talk about it here, about the nature of waves in all creations, the nature of zabzabat, fi al-kawn, fi al-khalq. So I would like to say that when we understand this human thing, and then we will see that whatever comes, the development, the science, the computer, or this IR4 and IR5 is at our time. We do not know yet when human become machine enhanced, right? And we develop bio machines, people whose genetics has been tampered with, so they become new type of people, but still with the mind of a human being. It's just that instead of exoskeleton, they have the inner skeleton plus the muscles. This is in 100 years when you don't have oil anymore. So what is the energy source? You have solar, you have nuclear, which is also has its problem. So the easiest, some of them were saying that we feed this bio machine just food, they have the intelligence, and they can do all the tough job. But anyway, in the end, whatever development that comes, we are still with that basic human trait, as mentioned by Prof. Fauzan tadi, the akal, the body, the akal, and also the spirit, right? And if we can understand this, then in the application of this technology, in the application of knowledge, we make use of a trans-faculty approach in understanding a thing. So using your mind, and then that mind we move towards the conviction of the heart. Then you move towards push of your nafs, and then it goes into the inspiration perhaps from your ruh. Then it becomes something else. It becomes hikmah. It becomes a higher level of understanding. So this is what I would like to say in short. Let's not forget who are we in the beginning, and we are still that human being, whatever science and technology can bring to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dato' Hamidun. That somewhat sums up our discussions very well. Your last words, Prof. Fauzan.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Sophia worried. I think Dr. Prof. Rusina already answers. Sophia means wisdom in Greek. So when philosophy means the love of wisdom, philos means love or friends.
Yeah.
So philosophy means love of wisdom. So Sophia means wisdom. So as I think I agreed with Prof. Rusina. She said that robot, I mean the developer want to
Nelson.
show that this Sophia also has wisdom, but I doubt she has wisdom. So this is my last word, Dr. Jana. Please take care of the hardware. Inshallah, we have going to have good peopleware. From this peopleware, we can going to have harmonies, hardware and software and digital society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Fauzan. Prof. Akram, your last words?
Okay, thank you. I think we need to think beside what have been said. I like what Dr. Hamidun just mentioned about we need to remember our purpose in this life as a human being. Allah created too many things for us. And وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِنْهُ. So he created too many things for us, but he created us to worship him. So we should not be busy with what he created for us and we forget our main purpose. So we should always remember our main aim in this life. And we need the final word to think how to humanize IR. Now we are living in the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and 5.0 is coming in the future. We cannot stop. We have not been asked. Google did not come and ask me, or Facebook ask me, what do you want, or do you agree or disagree? This is the movement, this is the development of the technology, and a lot of advantage, definitely. But we need now to think how to humanize the IR 4.0 and in the future IR 5.0. For us as a Muslim, we need maybe to think how to make to use the zakah and other endowment fund for scientific research and global development, leading to the benefit of the life needs. To think how to help the needy in the obligation of all that we can help based on an ICT. In the past, actually, Muslims make waqf for anything that the human being needs. So maybe we can reinforce waqf in the newly developed ICT field. Education as a basic for a human being. We need also to make it available to everyone, poor and rich, and should be the equality of education should be, the opportunity for education should be equality for everyone. We need to make use of technology for creating a new job rather than just replacing the human being for the sake of making more profit. We need to resilient urban environment to enable cities to prepare for different, for example, shock or disaster like what happened just now in the COVID-19. So we need to make use of the, because this is the maqasid when we talk about protecting life, protecting wealth. So we need to make use of the technology to prevent such disaster and shock and prepare the society for this kind of shock. And last year we faced here in Malaysia the flood. Hopefully will not back again this year. So we need to make the technology more engaging and more emotionally intelligent and more close to a human being. So I think I will stop here. Thank you very much for inviting me. Jazakumullah khair.
Wa iyyakum. Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Mira, your last words.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for Centris for the invitation. Jazakumullah khair. I think a lot of narratives have been shared today. What I would like to just re-emphasize perhaps is again that technology is just technology. As long as technology will keep growing, as long there is a users. So if we want to put meanings to it, then we drive the technology directions, development into the right direction so that we can benefit from it. Because we put meanings to it and not the technology put meanings to us. And the last one, I think on whoever developed those technology and when they are away from Islam or they are not familiar with the Islam, that's because they don't read Quran, and we do read Quran. So we should allow them to read us. Because they don't read Quran, they read Muslim. So we show them what Islam is and how technology can actually put meaning into Muslim world. Once they read us, once they see us, they probably would be able to see how this actually give the meanings to the Muslim Ummah, inshallah. So I'm very hopeful and I'm very optimistic that Muslim have that power and energy to actually that's the right thing, inshallah. Allahu alam.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mira. Humanizing IR, this is from Prof. Akram. Taking care of the hardware from Prof. Fauzan, and allowing the world to read us by using technology from Prof. Mira. Thank you very, very much, all panel members. I now pass back the screen to our Deputy Director, Dr. Nadra, for the last word. Dr. Nadra?
Yes.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much to all our panelists and also our participants, both in Zoom platform and also the YouTube. And I saw all the responses shared through the chat box, and they are all very interesting indeed. And the way that this discussion today, the forum has developed, it is indeed very interesting and very motivating. I think some parts of it are within that specific learning curve that we should be looking into very seriously in the future. And hopefully we can also prepare ourselves, in order to cater that focus, that areas, especially those which are being addressed by our panelists today. Most especially those which are very interesting indeed, I think, about children, cyber and security for children, and most especially also, I think, as academics, we should be prepared to just plain academics like myself, who are I can say as a noob or a newbie in ICT, then there would be this avenue, hopefully, for people like myself and those academics who are with me to learn further about all these issues and be prepared, because the issue of ICT and humanizing and spirituality, this is not only the issues of those experts who specialize in ICT, but now the way we see it from this forum, alhamdulillah, it's like an eye-opener that we can see that it is also issues that should be catered and also should be part of our discussion in the future together as academicians and intellectuals, hopefully, inshallah. Again, I would like to thank you, all the panelists and the participants. I would like to thank you also all the responses given and all feedbacks shared. Thank you also to our MC, Dr. Nur Jannah, and all the working committees behind the scene. Thank you all. Assalamualaikum. Back to you, Dr. Jannah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Nadra. We have come to the end of our virtual forum number 6. I would like to again thank you, all of you, panel members, Prof. Fauzan, Prof. Akram, Prof. Mira, as well as the rest of the participants to be with us. We end our session with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. But before that, Brother Faisal, could you please take photos of every one of us? Prof. Fauzan, we can see your screen, but we cannot see you. And the rest of you, could you please show yourselves so that we can take a good photo or two of all of us here?
MashaAllah, Shafirullah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shafiullah, also, you can take a photo of all of us.
Shafiullah needs your assistance too. Jadi dia tak nampak. Brother Shafi, could you please take the photo too? Okay. Saya punya screen dia tak keluar habis.
You can take more than one shot, Brother Faisal.
Ya, ya. Okay.
Done?
Okay, done.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's end with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-Asr.
Thank you very much.